Okay, it's 7 o'clock. I'll call this common council meeting in order for the month of October. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would the clerk call roll, please?
Evans?
Here.
Booty? Here. Groton?
Here.
Morose? Here. Mushka? Here. And Schuster is absent.
First item of business is agenda approval. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I would like to make an amendment before we approve it. I would like to move the resolution under public safety, resolution 50/2023, approving placing a part-time police officer on the city wage scale under personnel. We really dealt with that in personnel.
Is there a second to that amendment?
Second.
Motion by Morose, second by Foodie, to amend the agenda, moving that item is stated. Any further discussion? Questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approved minutes of previous meetings.
So moved.
Motion by Grattan,
Second.
second by Morose. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approved minutes of intervening meetings.
So moved.
Motion by Morose,
Second.
second by Mushka. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Public appearances. Is there anybody wishing to speak? Moving on to communications. The 2 second word alder people and myself have received an email, or was it a text? He's the abutting property owner to the doggy daycare. So it was copied to you too. I think that's the second word, doesn't it? This gentleman has shown up and voiced his disapproval of the doggy daycare that's next to his property, asking us to do something about it.
From Edward Rupert?
Yep, you got it?
Yeah, I do.
Would you like to read it?
Sure. Greetings, my name is Edward J. Rupert and my bride is Patricia Rupert. We built a house at 467 South Fairfield Avenue about 20 years ago. We would have never ever in a million years chosen to live next to a dog kennel. In fact, when the planning commission met, when the first became a veterinarian office, we voiced our concerns that there not be a dog kennel included, and we were assured there would not be. In fact, I have it in writing from Michelle, the owner of the property and business, that she did in fact recall that. Since the veterinarian service went belly up and now they have a doggy daycare, my life is a living hell. The barking starts shortly after 6 a.m. and usually levels off to just occasional barking around 10:30 a.m. I have 3 bouts with cancer and can no longer sleep in a bed, or I could quite literally drown, so I sleep in a recliner in the living room. I keep all doors and windows closed on the south half of our home. My wife and I can no longer enjoy breakfast in the dining room by the patio doors because of the nonstop barking. When I go out to do yard work, on my property, I have dogs barking at me nonstop. The staff does very little to stop the barking. The place has the look of a dump. There is no contacting them. They will not respond, and in face-to-face confrontations with Michelle, she cursed and had spit flying from her foul mouth. We do not allow our dog to bark, and if he does, he must come in right away. He hears the barking and he is on edge all morning. I wake up at 5 a.m. and put earplugs in so I can sleep, but it's very uncomfortable and I should not be doing that because of my tinnitus in my ears. How this goes on the morning. We are retired. I have to retire because of a failing heart and complications from radiation from when I had cancer. I should not have to live like this. It is my understanding that they are operating that business under a conditional use permit. I have called the police several times. The police chief and his assistant came visiting my wife and I. I installed cameras that can record the barking, but was told by the police chief to not do that. There is more than enough evidence of the barking. I also attended a planning commission meeting and was joined by the neighbor to the west of the business, where both of us were told to document everything and have a paper trail detailing phone calls to the police and my correspondence with the business owner. I will happily supply you with the written correspondences I have had with the business owner. I am a prisoner in my own home. I am depressed and had major anxiety from all this. Please help us. Please tell us what can be done short of moving, because quite frankly, we have already been told we would take a huge loss selling a home located next to a dog kennel. So please help us. Sincerely, Edward and Patricia Rupert, 467 South Fairfield Avenue.
Thank you, Jane. Dave, anything you want to add from Planning Commission on that?
The two of them had a good discussion, the two neighbors on Plan Commission. She said she was going to insulate better. She was going to, she talked about putting a fence up between the two of them, which would be additional fencing that's there. I mean, if she went 2 feet off the lot line, she'd have an additional fence closer to the home. I haven't seen that fence go up. And has she added extra insulation? I haven't gone to physically check.
Plan Commission did encourage her to erect a fence to both block the vision and the noise. Apparently they have a small dog too, and when they let it out, that sets all the ones off over the property line. I have seen that they do have a string pulled down. Whether that's an intent to erect a fence or not. Can we force them to do something like that in this kind of case to contain the noise, or is that?
Well, what do you have in your conditional use permit as far as requirements? So do you have something in the conditional use permit that says if the noise is excessive, you could order other measures?
Well, I think,
You know,
I think the only thing that I threatened her with, that she could lose her conditional use permit and not be able to operate as a,
right.
so, but I don't think we have anything outlined in particular on.
I'd be happy to look at the conditional use permit. Maybe you can modify the terms. I think a fence would be a good idea. I don't think it's going to eliminate the problem, but it'll help, right? Help minimize the noise. Same with insulation.
So,
Yeah.
Especially if it's a somewhat solid fence that their dog can't see and the other dogs can't see through.
That would help too.
It would really help.
Right, I agree. So I'm happy to look at it and see if we could modify it to add that.
okay. That's the only communications I had. Next we have approved payments of bills. Checks for $154,827.95. There are no vouchers. Electronic transfers, $98,977.63. Is there a motion to approve the payment of bills?
So moved.
Motion by Merles. Second by Groton. Any further discussion, questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Merles?
Aye.
Groton?
Aye.
Evans? Foodie? Aye. Maschka? Aye.
Payment of bills has been approved. Mayor, Resolution 51, 2023, approved 9/11 Joint Powers Agreement. Kayla, would you like to read that?
Sure. Resolution 51-2023, approved 911 Joint Powers Agreement. Whereas in order to comply with Section 256.359 of the Wisconsin State Statutes, the City of Juneau needs to execute the attached Joint Powers Agreement as shown in Exhibit A. And whereas the Common Council recommends approving this agreement with Dodge County 911 Emergency System, now therefore it be resolved that the Common Council of the City of Juneau accepts the aforementioned recommendation. Passed by the Common Council of the City of Juneau this 10th day of October 2023.
Motion to approve.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve. Second?
Motion by Muchka, second by Foodie. Any further discussion? pretty much self-explanatory in what that is, so. Are there any questions? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Mushka. Aye. Foodie.
Aye.
Evans.
Aye.
Groton.
Aye.
Merle.
Aye.
Resolution 51, 2023 is passed. Moving on, clerk treasurer.
Just the only thing I'm reporting is we scheduled the preliminary audit for November 6th. So next month they will be here starting the audit stuff. So we got our list and on to audit. So
Any questions for the clerk? Moving on, written reports, building permit report, police department report, Juneau Fire and Rescue report, and the Juneau EMS report. Any questions on any of those? Reports of committees, commissions, and boards. We have our favorite librarian, Jeanette, here today.
Yeah, favorite one. I know you have a big meeting, so I'm just going to give you a couple updates of some things coming up. We all like Pizza Ranch, and we all like the Friends of the Juneau Public Library. And so if you marry those together, you support the Friends of the Juneau Public Library by coming out Monday, the 23rd of October. So from 4 to 8, we will be there, the Friends group, and 10% of your dine-in or carry-out or delivery or purchase of gift cards all goes back to the Friends of the Juneau Public Library. And to piggyback on that, this organization is supporting our trick-or-treating on the 29th, Sunday the 29th. They provide the candy for about we had 300 trick-or-treaters last year that came to the library. So that's a lot of candy. And then they are also sponsoring this program coming up. If you're a Packer fan, I'm not, but this is as close as you're gonna get. We've got green and gold on. This should be a very entertaining program that's going to be at the library on Wednesday, November 1st. Jim Rice is a historian, a sports historian, talented public speaker, and we'll be talking about the 13 championship seasons of the Green Bay Packers. He has several books he's written about the Packers and Bears rivalry and all those sorts of things. So he's a wealth of knowledge. Come on out. The Friends group will have some light refreshments for you as well that evening. And we look forward to seeing you in November. Any questions?
That's it.
That's it.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, next we have Plan Commission. David.
We met and we looked at these 2 certified survey maps for next generation construction. On East Highland Street. There are duplexes out there, 0 lot line residences, 4 of them total. I'm saying that, well, 4 is total, it's not 8. It's 2 homes, 0 lot lines, so 4 houses. We looked at the plans and it fits all the setbacks of R2 requirements, so we accepted that. I had met with Sensient's new plant manager to discuss the multiple properties that Sensient has acquired over the years and combining them into one parcel of I-3. This would reduce the number of tax bills that the county, the city, and their employees have to deal with every year. So hopefully we can get it down to a far more reasonable number than what they're at now. We also had Bruce Olner came in for an accessory structure on 282 West North Street. We reviewed the current ordinance and discussed the options of a conditional use permit if he possibly attached his garage to the house and removed one utility building that would allow him to put up one more building exceeding 800 feet. Although we had some questions with the ordinance that was, the way the text is written, is it 2 buildings or 3? And so we're going to have some legal expertise on that later to find out what's going on. That was our meeting. Other than that, I have some papers to read here. Underground facilities, this has to do with the street lighting in town. We need to conform with the newer LED lights, to put those in to save everybody some money. Our ordinance reads that a 25-foot aluminum pole with a 6-foot arm, 100-foot high-pressure sodium, or 120-volt Cobra high-pressure sodium multi-tap, or straight 120 volt in the residential area. We're going to change that to 25-foot aluminum pole with a 6-foot arm, 150 high-pressure sodium, 120 volts, or a Cobra LED multi-tap, or straight 120 volt. In the commercial area, we're going to have a 30-foot aluminum pole with a 6-foot arm, 250 high-pressure sodium and 120 volts, a Cobra high-pressure sodium multi-tap or straight voltage. And we're changing it to 30-foot aluminum pole with 6-foot arm, 250 high-pressure sodium, 120 volts, or Cobra LED multi-tap and straight voltage. That's the first reading on that. And I have another one. We are adding a section of L, it's a boarding house per section 17.09.050 paren D, paren 20. Note, all large group developments are subject to a conditional use permit per section 17.09.060.
Are these in our packet?
Pardon?
Are these in our packet, the ordinances?
I'm not sure if Keely added those or not.
I
No, I don't
think
think
so.
she did. I think she just printed them.
Yeah, I just printed these out.
There's small changes to
So
wordings, basically.
the rest of the verbiage on the utilities is all the same. It's just that we're going from Cobra high-pressure sodiums to Cobra LEDs.
Yeah.
So we also need to follow our ordinances.
You can omit those voltages on there because that is up to the discretion of what we have at hand at the time, at the location of lights. Most of our lights throughout town are 240, they're not 120, so you can just omit that voltage. That doesn't have to be part of this ordinance.
Okay.
So just take out the 120 volts.
Yeah,
Okay.
on all of them.
Okay, we'll do.
We do have some 120 volt, but most of it is 240 throughout town, and it all depends on what location they're at, so we wouldn't want to have that locked in
Okay,
as a requirement.
got it.
Thank you, Dan.
Now, are we going to be combining some of these other ones that you're proposing, like sump pump discharges? We want to run all of these ordinance changes all one hit at the cat, right?
Right.
We don't want
I would
to
agree.
piecemeal all this.
No.
Okay, well, this is for Plan Commission,
Okay.
or Public Works.
Yep. But what I'm saying is we
Right.
want to publicize all of these changes in one.
Right, and they're
So that we
still
save-
coming.
So that we
Right.
save money on that. And
Yeah,
then
you'll save
we don't have to do the
publication fees.
multiple publication for each individual ordinance. We want to group them all together and go in for the.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Any questions for Dave on that? Anything else tonight, Dave?
No.
Okay, moving on, Finance Committee. Richard?
Okay, our meeting last Tuesday. I'll make a couple comments on our meeting, and then I got a bunch of resolutions, I guess. We approved placing the part-time police officer on the city wage scale. Kay will take care of that in personnel. There'll be a resolution for that. Megan discussed with us the status of the ARPA funds, and she informed us that the city will be able to show lost revenue and that'll free us to be able to use the funds for various projects. The fund is $279,255.70, and it's earned around $12,000 of interest to this point. And we should designate the money for a specific purpose sometime early next year. And then Megan reviewed the status of the proposed budgets for each of the departments, and the public hearing to approve the 2024 budget is scheduled for Tuesday, November 28th. Now I'll start the resolution march here.
Before you start that, the ARPA funds, is there a group that's gonna decide that, or how are you deciding where that money's going?
We're deciding on at finance.
Okay, so if anybody has any input, we should let you know.
Yep.
All right, see what I can do in North Maine, maybe we need some improvement.
Maybe we can get some Halloween
I'll
decorations.
get Paul.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll get Paul right on that.
Yeah, we'll get Paul. Anyway, sorry to interrupt. I was just wondering how that was gonna be decided, or, how you prioritize the request, or,
Megan received some input from the outside sources and what have you,
okay.
more or less focusing in one big project to spend that in and dicing it all up into smaller ones. It was recommended by higher ups to do it that way. People that understood it more than what we did.
Yeah, I spoke to the auditors about it.
So they're really looking for a big project that would take all that.
Purchase, yeah.
We were focusing on the last block of downtown Juneau. That way everybody would get benefit throughout town.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have anything in mind. I was just wondering how it's gonna be decided.
Right.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, the first resolution. We still got leftover business from last month's meeting. This resolution will revise Resolution 82-2019 concerning money budgeted for cable TV funds. So, Resolution 36-2023, approved to move excess cable TV budget fund balance into a cable committee contingency fund. Whereas the Finance Committee has reviewed a request to move excess unspent budgeted cable TV funds at the end of each year into a cable committee contingency fund, and whereas the Finance Committee recommends that there no longer be a $12,000 cap on monies allocated for equipment replacement or acquisition. Now therefore be it resolved that the Common Council of the City of Juneau accepts this aforementioned recommendation passed by the Common Council of the City of Juneau this 10th day of October 2023. I would move for passage of Resolution 36-2023.
I'll second.
Motion by Evans, second by Buchka. Further discussion. Jane, do you want to touch bases since you had that committee?
This is, just came about because there's a lot of need for the cable TV that I was gonna discuss later on. Mostly with the storage of videos. Having to deal with the archival of business videos. And we also have to replace laptops to support Windows 10 as soon as possible. And perhaps looking into remote cameras and other equipment that needs to be replaced. Anybody that ever would like to go to their room down there and see what David is working with right now, it's kind of sad. We even have a server wrapped in Reynolds wrap. That's the only way it works. And he goes there once a week to check on the sound, because I think the sound must go out.
Yep, it was out again the other week.
Yeah, so it's a lot of equipment that with needs of upgrading.
But this is basically a one-time thing? Is that what we're doing? To build up the equipment?
Right, that's why we asked to have the cap removed, because there's going to be a need for equipment. We're
But-
removing the cap
But
too.
just so everybody's aware of, there's nothing in the regulations that money can't be used for the general fund as well. But what cable TV's looking for is to shore up and replace a lot of equipment right now routinely, it's usually been like a couple grand that went towards the general fund, and the majority of it went towards the cable TV fund.
And that
we're-
is true, it can be used for anything.
Right, and there's nothing that says that this has to go towards that stuff. But I guess it's only right.
Although I
that-
did contact the League of Municipalities about that very question.
Mhm.
They won't give me an opinion. They suggested I contact the Department of Revenue,
Oh, jeez.
which I'm not going to do, but it wasn't like the League of Municipalities had any published opinions saying that franchise fees can be used wherever. I'm just putting that out there, that I did ask.
But point of reference, there's a vast majority of communities that have charter into their communities that are receiving franchise fees. They don't go towards the cable TV fund at all because of the fact they don't have a local station like we have. So this point to be made is there's nothing in stone that says that this has got to be done, but for at this time, or at this point in time with some failing equipment, it's probably a good idea, but the last thing I'd hate to see is that cable TV goes away and we don't have a fund at all. We might be getting some franchise fees for them. We do get pole attachment fees from them on our overhead system, and whatever that goes to the local electric utility. It doesn't go to the city of Juneau, but just want to put it out there so everybody understands what this is all about. Routinely, we get 16,000 for franchise fees income, and the cable TV committee would get like 12 grand out of it or something like that. That's historically how it's been handled. So now what James is saying, it's going to be funneled back towards the cable TV committee, that the excess fee funds will not go towards the general fund, and will stay within the cable TV committee jurisdiction. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. Clear as mud. Roll call vote, please.
Evans?
Aye.
Muchka? Aye. Foodie? Aye. Grattan?
Aye.
Morose?
Aye.
Resolution 36, 2023 is passed.
All right, the next resolution is the city rents agricultural land south of town, and we received 3 bids. At the last meeting, we set a minimum bid of $200
Per acre.
per acre. And our current tenant offered the highest bid. So here we have Resolution 46-2023, approve farm lease agreement with Randy and Jillian Drager. Whereas the Finance Committee has reviewed the attached farm lease agreement with Randy and Jillian Drager covering a 3-year period beginning January 1st, 2024 and ending December 31st, 2026. And whereas the Finance Committee recommends that the City of Juneau enter into a farm lease agreement of 17.93 acres at $273 per acre as shown in Exhibit A. Now therefore be it resolved that the Common Council of the City of Juneau accept the aforementioned recommendation passed by the Common Council of the City of Juneau this 10th day of October 2023. I move for passage of Resolution 46, 2023.
Second.
Motion by Evans, second by Grattan. Further discussion? The only thing that I would have liked to add, whether you want to do it or not, is some kind of late payment clause. He has historically had problems with paying according to the on time.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be a good idea.
Any recommendation from you? I know I do it on a rental basis, a $5 a day late fee for anybody that doesn't pay it.
Yeah, you could do it $5 a day, you could do. I would do it daily rather than monthly, that'd be the other option.
Okay.
You like that, Megan?
Yeah, I can add that.
Amend your motion?
Sure. I'll amend the motion to what I just read, plus adding a late fee of
I would suggest
$5 a day.
$5 a day is reasonable.
$5 a day.
Okay, got it.
Do I understand?
Motion and second to the amended?
Second, I'll also accept the amendment.
Again, motion by Evans, second by Grattan, to approve the amended motion. Roll call vote, please.
Evans.
Aye.
Grattan.
Aye.
Footy. Morose. Mutchka.
Resolution 46, 2023 is passed.
All right, last meeting we talked about cameras and we approved some monies to put them in the city park. So we received 4 bids for placing cameras in the city park. And we approved the bid from Guard Dog, and we're sending it to the Common Council. Guard Dog is the same outfit that does the library and the utility building, I believe. So, Resolution 47-2023, approve the purchase of security cameras for Juneau City Park. Whereas the Finance Committee has reviewed quotes to purchase and install security cameras at the Juneau City Park, and whereas the Finance Committee recommends to approve the purchase and installation of security cameras from Guard Dog Surveillance Systems not to exceed the cost of $6,207.34. Now therefore be it resolved that the Common Council of the City of Juneau accepts the aforementioned recommendation passed by the Common Council of the City of Juneau this 10th day of October 2023. I move for passage of Resolution 47-2023.
I'll second.
Motion by Evans, second by Morose. Further discussion. If we beat it along enough, we got 3 separate bids. Joe, anything you want to add on this? Unlike the first bid we got, that was going to be hardwired, this is going to be through the air.
Right.
No digging up the park or anything like that. Basically, they all bid a similar system. Some had different ideas on how they were going to do it. So. No further discussion. Roll call vote,
They're all
please.
exterior cameras only.
Yep.
Okay.
Evans.
Aye.
Morose.
Aye.
Footy. Grattan.
Aye.
Mutchka.
Resolution 47, 2023 is passed.
All right, the next item, personnel forwarded a recommendation to the Finance Committee to move Kaylee Visser, our deputy clerk, to step 5 on the city wage scale. So, Resolution 48-2023, approve wage increase for deputy clerk. Whereas both the Finance and Personnel Committees have reviewed the wage increase request for Kaylee Visser, and whereas both the Finance and Personnel Committees recommend an increase to deputy clerk's wage to step 5, which is $22.81, effective October 1st, 2023. Now therefore be it resolved that the Common Council of the City of Juneau accepts the aforementioned recommendation passed by the Common Council of the City of Juneau this 10th day of October 2023. I move for passage of Resolution 48-2023.
I'll second.
Motion by Evans, second by Mushka. Morose. Any further discussion? I think Kaylee's done a fantastic job up here. She's has to wear a lot of hats. I think we kind of surveyed the surrounding areas for her same position, and this is more in line with what the other communities are paying. And I can't say enough about what she does for us. Keeps the boat afloat. No further discussion. Roll call vote, please.
Evans.
Aye.
Morose.
Aye.
Footy. Grattan.
Aye.
Mutchka.
Resolution 48, 2023 is passed.
All right, let's see, personnel forwarded to the Finance Committee the recommendation for the health insurance employer contributions for 2024 as described in Exhibit A. I think it's option 2. The Finance Committee agreed with their recommendation, so here is Resolution 49-2023, approve healthcare provider and employer contributions. Whereas the Personnel and Finance Committees have received and reviewed the rates for the state health plans as shown in Exhibit A, and whereas the Personnel and Finance Committees recommend designating both Dean Health and Network Health as agreed upon health plans, and whereas the City contributes 85% of the lowest cost provider, which is Dean Health. Employees contribute the remaining 15%, plus any difference in the cost if they wish to switch to network health plan. And whereas employees' health care premium is as follows: regularly scheduled full-time employees, 15%, regularly scheduled part-time employees that work 30 to 40 hours per week, 25%, regularly scheduled part-time employees working less than 30 hours per week, 50%. Now therefore be it resolved that the Common Council of the City of Juneau accepts the aforementioned recommendation passed by the Common Council of the City of Juneau this 10th day of October 2023. I move for passage of Resolution 49-2023.
Second.
Motion by Evans, second by Muchka. Further discussion?
Megan, can you let us know how much health insurance went up cost this year?
You should have it on your,
Was it like
It's attached.
17 some percent?
it was, yeah, it was like 17%, but I don't know if she included it in here, or, I don't think she did, because that was part of our finance.
17.88%,
Yeah,
Yep.
17.96.
yes, that is
Okay.
correct.
So it's a nice benefit we're giving our employees at this point.
But I will add from personnel's perspective, when I did my little comparables,
Right.
we were the outlier in that
And
most,
that's what drives it, for
right,
sure.
yeah, most
Yeah.
places, the employer pay more than what we do. So we're getting more in line with our comparables on that.
Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Evans?
Aye.
Muchka? Aye. Foodie?
Hi.
Grattan?
Aye.
Morose?
Aye.
Resolution 49-2023 is passed.
All right, so personnel forwarded a recommendation for a 3% cost of living raise for 2024. And the finance committee voted to increase that to 4% in a split vote. So, I will read Resolution 52-2023, approve cost of living increase. Whereas the Finance Committee has reviewed a request for a 4% cost of living wage increase for the city employees as shown in Exhibit A, and whereas the Finance Committee recommends approving the 4% cost of living wage increase for city employees effective January 1st, 2024. Now therefore be it resolved that the Common Council of the City of Juneau accepts the aforementioned recommendation passed by the Common Council of the City of Juneau this 10th day of October 2023.
I will move for passage of Resolution 52-2023.
I'll second.
Motion by Morose, second by Foodie. Further discussion?
So I'll just say I spent a fair amount of time looking at comparables. I wouldn't say that we are out of the ballpark with comparables, but I would say that we were at the lower end. I see that the cost of living, they estimate at 3.2%, although it might go up to 3.4% for next year. I know some may or may not think that that's a good guide, but I think that's a consideration. So upon consideration of the cost of living, the fact that I believe even with our comparables, we are on the lower end. And I also I looked at one position in what I would say are our competitors, which are the City of Watertown and the City of Beaver Dam, for the general, general laborer of the DPW. So I talked to someone both in Beaver Dam and Watertown, and in Beaver Dam, that wage scale would be almost $2.50 more than the high. Their high end is $2.50 more than our high end. And in Watertown, like their mid-range is already $2 more than what our high end is. So, and I realize that those are bigger cities, they're not our comparables, but I believe they compete with our staff. And I think it would behoove us to try to stay competitive. It appears that our current budget can absorb, or next year's budget, can absorb a raise, and when there is an opportunity to try to play catch up, I know this is a cost of living, but I guess I consider it a cost of living and a bit of a catch up to trying to stay competitive amongst all the municipalities that vie for personnel. So that's why I do, I know the personnel recommended 3, but I certainly support 4%. And believe after a full review that, it is, in my opinion, justified. So that's.
And I would like to echo what Kay Moreau said too, is our city employees are definitely under-acknowledged, I believe, and I believe it's a step in the right direction, and I hope we can only build on it.
I think if you want to catch up, you should do it through the wage scale. I think that's a more effective way. I don't believe that a COLA increase is very effective, because the other cities will be increasing their COLAs also. And you're not going to catch up that way. So if you're serious about upgrading, and I'm happy to have that discussion. If I see that there's a need for that, I will definitely support it. But do it through the wage scale is what I would suggest. I'm going to, in fairness to the folks that voted us into these seats, many of whom will not see a 3 to 4% COLA raise in the coming year, I'm going to have to vote no on this.
And I think the people that voted us into this position also should be looking at the raises the utility received, which are above and beyond this. I know that they're 2 different entities, but I just feel like the city's been shorted long enough. I agree with you, maybe we should look at the wage scales.
And that's what they did at utility, and
Yeah.
we've had this argument many times, not argument, this discussion many times.
All right, we're getting off track here.
I think that, do we, and that's where I have the dump, do we hire an agency to come in and do a wage scale? Maybe we get a bid. What does that cost? Because I can tell you that whether it's the rec department gave me a comparison study, we're way down. I understand the library system has now done a comparison wages, and we're down. So I don't even know where to start to get the wages to where they have to be, and who is going to make that decision. Maybe we should have a wage scale study. I don't know, but that's a discussion for But I take your issue that all of it needs to be looked at.
Sure.
I just don't know who's going to do that, because that is one time-consuming, challenging thing to do, to be fair to everybody and everybody's different position and the different things that they do within municipalities. It's a hard thing.
Oh, absolutely. And you've laid some groundwork for that already.
So,
Sorry.
No, you can.
One thing I just wanted to add, the difference between the 2, not all of you got that spreadsheet, but I wanted to, because I provided it to finance because they asked. The difference between 3 to 4% is $63,1620. About $6,300 between 3 and 4%.
That's a small price to pay in my book.
I think for me, what kind of, I guess, not tipped it, because I was kind of leaning one way regardless, is that utilities probably batting around like a 4% increase. They're talking about that is what was brought up in finance, was the number that they had kind of talked about, at least, are going to be discussing. And I think it doesn't close the gap for us, but at least it stops it from getting further and further. If we are kind of matching the percentage, at least for this time, this year, the one time, I think makes sense to me.
The only thing I would say about that is that we had a joint personnel meeting at the, was it August, end of August, and there was a vote on a 3% raise, and it was voted down, and all of the utility personnel committee members there voted no. So I don't know where they're at for a COLA raise.
I heard it was 4. They want to vote 4. That's why they turned down 3.
That's what I heard, it's 4%.
Yeah.
That had no input from the utility commissioners, though. That was just from our office staff that put the budget together.
That's, we all hear different, so.
The budget that I saw there had a 3%.
But Lori did put the budget together at a 4%.
Oh, she did. Yeah.
Okay, any other? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Burrows,
Aye.
Foodie,
Aye.
Evans,
No,
Groton,
Aye.
Muchka.
Aye.
Resolution 52, 2023 is passed.
I think that's it.
That's it? Okay, moving on.
That's enough.
Personnel, please.
Well, you know, Dick did such a good job. I almost have nothing I have to say. Because, you know, most of the things you talked about came through personnel.
Sorry about that.
No, I am, you know me, I don't like that limelight. But I am going to do the part-time police officer. We're putting this here as a resolution. So the situation is, this is Russ, who just comes back to do training, I think weapons training, that sort of thing. It's a very limited amount of hours per year, and it's not enough for him to be part of the union, the officers' union. So we will just put him on, the recommendation to put him on our wage scale. So Resolution 50, 2023, approve placing part-time police officer on wage scale. Whereas the Finance and Personnel Committees have reviewed a request to place a part-time police officer onto the city wage scale, and whereas the Finance and Personnel Committees recommend to approve placing the position on the city wage scale, and whereas the Finance and Personnel Committees recommend that this position receive any cost of living increase, and whereas the Finance and Personnel Committees recommend that this change be effective January 1, 2024, now therefore be resolved that the Common Council of the City of Juneau accepts the aforementioned recommendation passed by the Common Council of the City of Juneau this 10th day of October 2023. I'd move for passage of Resolution 50, 2023.
Motion by Morose,
Second.
second by Foodie. Further discussion. This is essentially the wage that Russ left us at when he went to Beaver Dam. So he was just getting his hourly wage without benefits to do the training out at the shooting range.
Yeah, the only other thing I would add is we are still in negotiation with the police union, and been sharing proposals back and forth, and hope to have a meeting next week.
No further discussion, roll call vote, please.
Burrows,
Aye.
Foodie,
Aye.
Evans,
Aye.
Groton,
Aye.
Muchka.
Aye.
Resolution 50, 2023 is passed. Anything else to report from public safety? John's not here tonight.
We just have the ordinance.
Got that ordinance.
Oh, go ahead, Dave.
Parking and stopping. I suppose we gotta go 10.08.060, parking, stopping, and standing regulated. Let's see if we can find those changes. Here's the change. We are adding two more numbers, two more lines to that area. 50, no parking on South Fairfield Avenue north of West Kent Street for 332 feet from West Kent Street on both the west and east sides of South Fairfield. 51, no parking on South Fairfield Avenue 97 feet south from the intersection of West Cross Street and 195 feet south. So,
And that's for the business that's on, because it's so congested down there, correct?
correct. It's so congested on.
Turning radiuses of the trucks. That's the first reading, so you'll be voting on that next month. Moving on, Public Works.
Public Works, we did meet.
Oh, excuse me, trick or treating will be October 31st, from 3 to 6.
29. October 29th.
What did I say, 31st?
Yeah.
29th? Last Sunday of the month.
October 29th from 3 to 6, right? Yeah.
Sorry to
4 to
interrupt
6?
you, Dave.
Excuse
That's
me,
okay.
4 to 6.
I'm done. Oh, no. Joe,
Nice try.
there was the solution concerning the west lot pin located at 642 East Oak Street. Joe was to contact Jason Lau at MSA about the lot pin locations and having them put in on East Oak Street. When they did that street, it was brought up that MSA was to make sure that the lot pins were put back in, and we have one that was not. Discuss and possibly approve solution to concrete issues at 543 East Oak Street. Joe is to epoxy concrete to imperfection and monitor. Got a chunk of concrete that looked like a leaf was in there and it came out. So we're gonna top coat that with epoxy, and the epoxy has worked in other places in town. So we think it'll work fine there rather than replace a large chunk of approach. We have an issue at the city dump site. Bryce is who's working on the Western Avenue project, wants to use the dump for site for fill. And he was told by the mayor to contact Joe, and Joe would help him however he could. It's going to be a lot of fill, and said that we couldn't take it, but then there was more discussion that happened, and they're going to get it in there. We'll accept it as long as we can have them spread it out the way we want it, that Joe wants it spread out, so it helps out with rainwater and all the rest. There was a discussion of Top Tiers Trucking running those large haul trucks down Western Avenue. The trucks are way overweight for the road. They are for off-road use only. So we talked to the chief about making sure that they're not driving on the road. They will need to use quad axle trucks, which are licensed. Well, that's another thing. These trucks aren't even licensed. They're not licensable. They're way too heavy for the road. So we didn't permit that. Considering, then we went into closed session to have some discussion, and we came out of discussion, and what do I say? Joe gave his superintendent's report. He reported that there was a request to paint parking stalls on the 200 block of East Oak Street. The public safety building and landscaping is complete, and the pavilion in the park, the replacement of the posts is done. The DPW painted lines and curbs on South Fairfield Avenue, and he is talking to contractors about security cameras, which we have authorized to be installed. And I have a resolution here it's a new one on sump pumps. 15.04.050 sump pumps. New installations in all new construction and street reconstruction. Such approved sump pump shall discharge into a storm sewer where such is available. In areas where storm sewers are not available, the sump pump shall discharge onto the surface at least 3 feet from the building foundation. Discharge from the sump pump shall be directed either toward the rear lot line or toward the street, and shall not be directed as to flow to adjacent property. Discharge from a sump pump shall not create a nuisance. The sump pump discharge shall be considered a nuisance in situations including but not limited to such discharge creating icing problems on a city street or sidewalk, damaging a city street or sidewalk, creating ponds of standing water, or flowing over adjoining property. This is the first reading of that ordinance.
Is that for new construction?
It's for new and street reconstruction. So that covered both, that tied in. You gotta think of the guy downhill when you, well, you know, I mean, it runs downhill, but if you're up the hill and you can tie in, then that guy doesn't have to pump the water you pumped out to run down the hill. You know, might as well get rid of it right away and have it open. So,
This isn't anything that other communities don't require. I don't know what Watertown does, but yeah, it's just the watershed issue, especially with the leaking sanitary sewers. If you can keep this stuff corralled, get it into the pipe system of your storm sewer, it's for betterment for the topsoil and betterment for seepage in the sanitary sewer too, so.
Yeah, Watertown does something similar. It's a good idea.
No, written a little different.
Right, but same idea.
Yep.
trying not to have in spring your neighbor's carpet and chairs and everything from the basement out in the street.
Mhm.
Drywall.
Anything else from Public Works, Dave?
No.
Where's the, you talked about hauling the stuff to the dump? Are we talking about the leaf site or?
No.
We're talking about
And in the industrial park.
The fill
by
site.
by the power, or the
Electric substation.
Right, the
Okay.
substation in the West Industrial Park. So, you know, you've only got so much room to put the waste from digging, and if you put so much in there, it's gonna be full all the faster.
Fortunately, it is a low area, so anything we can get to build up, will make it more buildable years down the road, so. And like Joe said, he doesn't want concrete or house-sized chunks of concrete dropped in there and whatever. You want to minimize that and just have good, somewhat clean fill brought in there. And it's a hardship for these guys doing any kind of construction. Trucking costs is so costly, so you try to keep your dump site close to your construction. So a lot of that is coming from the Dodge County Housing Project there. So. Any other questions for Dave? Moving on, cable TV.
I just want to thank David Bennett, our cable TV director. He put together cable TV needs. You may have already heard this, but the archival system for the official city business videos, we are required by state statute to archive videos of city meetings and select staff-produced videos if they directly relate to city department, initiative, program, etc., or anything considered official city business for no less than 7 years. This could be coordinated with the city administrator, since all documents, regardless of media format, must follow the same rule. The second thing was replacing any Windows 10 by October 2024 or older computers ASAP. There are security risks as their operating systems, and security will be, or in some cases already, not supported. The options are either replace or get rid of. And looking at remote camera systems to better maintain consistency of filming meetings. And we have talked about many options with apps, looking to put together a program, and we want to get together with Utility Commission, seeing what their needs are with this also. And we have needs for updating field equipment. Older camera and OK mic are broken, but they're functioning. So like we said earlier, a lot of our cable TV equipment is limping along in need of repair or replacement. And we just reviewed recording ideas, and that's about all I have.
Any questions for Kay?
For Jane.
Or Jane? Moving on, CDA, nothing to report there. Recreation, okay.
Yes, recreation, I'm all about it. So we did meet. And let's see. One of the things we did was we made a motion that the recreation director will now schedule the contributing non-profit civic organizations that are allowed to have one free meeting a month at the community center. Our tenant no longer wanted to schedule those, and I could see that people were being moved around to Chance, to Jacob, so we just decided, let's have Jacob schedule it, and so that there's no more confusion about who they have to call to schedule. So tried to clear that one up. And then we also established a separate account to take in charitable contributions for the Juneau Rage soccer program. People want to contribute, particularly for a lot of the uniforms and gear for that. It's expensive. And we went into closed session and did a performance eval on Jacob. He's been here for 6 months, and we're happy to have him. And he's continuing to build up our recreation department and is still learning as he goes, because there's a lot to learn when you're a department head and just trying to figure it all out yet. So one thing we did also pass was a policy and procedure regarding the security cameras, and I know that this has been debate. We have this variety of uses of the community center. We have a tenant, we have elections, and we also have children's programs, adult recreation programs. The Recreation Committee would like to see security cameras in the lobby and in the gymnasium. And in an effort to try to find a compromise position between everybody that uses the community center, the committee did pass a policy. It's pretty simple and straightforward. Now, of course, I can't bring it up, but thanks. So it basically, the issue, we want to provide safety and security for all individuals and families utilizing the city. And we believe placing security cameras, we talked about the city park. The city park is already going to get them. And we know that we've had our park bathroom vandalized and our playground equipment, so that is really handled. But we'd also like to place cameras to monitor the community center's entrances, lobby, gym. So I put the exceptions would be these security cameras would be turned off during the tenant's scheduled events, which have been noted on the joint calendar. The recreation director or designee would be responsible to turn off the camera, and will email the tenant the date and times the cameras will be turned off. This information will also be forwarded to the mayor. The security cameras will also be turned off during elections. The recreation director or designee will be responsible to turn off the cameras and will email the city hall staff the date and times the cameras will be turned off. This information will also be forwarded to the mayor. And I think it's a basic, safe and secure environment for everybody. So that is where the Recreation Committee is at. And because there's been these different opinions about security cameras, I thought we needed to start first with, does this city council support security cameras in the lobby and the gymnasium of the community center? So on that, we must have a resolution here. I'm not getting the resolution. Do you have the resolution on? Thank you. Resolution 53, 2023, approve policy and procedure for security cameras. Whereas the Recreation Committee has reviewed the need to create a policy and procedure for security cameras for the city park and community center, whereas the Recreation Committee recommends approving this policy as shown in Exhibit A, now therefore be it resolved that the Common Council of the City of Juneau accepts the aforementioned recommendation passed by the Common Council of the City of Juneau this 10th day of October 2023. I would move for passage of Resolution 53, 2023.
I'll second.
Motion by Monroe, second by Muchka. Further discussion.
So we're gonna have the recreation director turn the cameras off and on.
Yeah, he'll have an app, as will Joe. I think there was a discussion that Joe would, there has to be a second person, so I think Joe would be a good person.
You look like you weren't aware of that?
I just found out about that.
Okay, well, I suggested that there should be a second person if he's gone, and I suggested that it probably be,
I wonder if
Joe.
it should be more centrally located, like someone at City Hall.
Well, they don't want to check in the calendar for the events.
So this app is on a person's phone.
Right, so the app would be on
So what
the rec
business-
director's phone and someone else. I mean, so there's a second person.
So then he can view the cameras on his phone.
I suppose he can.
Why?
Well,
I mean,
we have to have it on an app, right? I mean,
why should he be able to view the cameras? You could turn it on and off with the.
That's the problem I'm having with it. I think it should be more central. Everything is
You go
centrally
down there.
located up here at City Hall, and City Hall should flip the switch off and
Or
on.
the police department.
Yes.
I mean,
I don't think that should be up to the recreation director to have that app on his phone.
No.
Even when we talk about cable TV, I never suggested to have an app on my personal phone, or even a city
well, the
phone.
city phone, it would be on a city phone.
I just don't think that, I think it should be on centrally located, and I think that's an excellent suggestion is having it through City Hall or Police Department. Those would be your two.
But that would be extra work for them to know when the
They could still let 'em
tenant
know.
is having an event, and,
Just an email. You know,
Yeah.
Chief, you got to turn it off, you know, and he can flip it. Or you go in, flip a switch, or,
'Cause you can get it on like a hard drive, it doesn't have to be on an app as well. It's just, depending on what you get, but, I mean, I think that the police department should have it, just in case if we do have scenarios, then they can view it. I don't want anything to do with security cameras here. I understand it should be centrally located, but I don't want to do them here.
I don't know if the police department would want them either. I mean, we can't force them into doing that until we have a discussion with the police department. Because, I'm not gonna engage the police department.
The biggest concern that I have is the election. And even if it's turned off, the appearance of a camera in the election space in these contentious times with elections is not going to be a good thing.
Well, I would argue that there's probably a lot of polling places that are in gymnasiums that have security cameras.
I'm just saying, I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think that it's, these are tough times with elections, and I don't think that it's a good idea to have a camera hanging there.
Especially with one of them being presidential this coming year.
Well, I think the safety and security of the children are paramount. And I guess it floors me that,
I just guess
I just don't understand how we can't believe that anything can happen anywhere, right?
Joe, would you
And
be
we are
comfortable?
responsible for the programming of children, of people's children. It is our responsibility to keep them safe. And I think a minimum would be that we have security cameras to watch in the places where they are coming through and where they have their programs. And
I don't have a problem with that, I just have a problem with it being on the rec director's phone. I think we'd have to think of other options, and I definitely think the police department would be one. Joe, do you have a problem with monitoring that?
The cameras?
Yeah, when they're turned on or off?
I fully support a hard drive, the police department. If we have an issue, the cops, police will be contacted. They go back and view the evidence. There's no reason that I should. I could view it with them. But there's no
I don't
reason for
think
me
we
to
would-
sit and view on my own whenever I want to. That's why I guess the way I see it. If that's what you're asking.
I'm asking if you be willing to be one of the people that could turn it off and on from recording.
Sorry when I didn't interrupt there.
It's okay.
I mean, we have to open up a better line of communication, obviously, because I didn't know anything about it.
When are
I'm
they-
supposed to know.
Well, I guess,
It was a,
what
just
about
a
the gym?
discussion that there had to be a
I thought we weren't doing cameras in the
second.
gym.
Huh?
I said, I thought we weren't doing cameras in the gym.
Well,
So I guess that's where I'm lost too,
That's
so.
where I was talking about as well, before, that there was to be no cameras in.
But I just want to be on the record, that the rec committee unanimously believes for the security and the safety of the children that we serve, there should be security cameras. And so if something happens, I just want it on the record that the rec committee,
What can we do about that? I mean, can we do something as easily as putting a box over the camera during these other times to assure that there'd be one check and balance that somebody turned it off or not?
They have covers.
You can bag them.
we could bag them.
They have covers on them, but I don't want the camera visible at all during the election. You know, or something like that. You could bag them, everything.
They go into a wall.
Well, no, it's anything, you know, some way to cover them up is all I'm saying. Would that be a possibility?
I'm sure we could cover them up somehow.
I mean, I don't mean throwing a coat over the top of them or something like that, but
You're talking about a lot of rec events on the weekend, right?
Yeah.
So you're not really gonna necessarily be able to have the rec director come back in and turn the cameras on and off.
Right.
Logistically, it's gonna be
Even
way
the
easier
police
from
department
his
may not
phone.
have, it's somebody on shift.
Right,
So
So it's
what
gonna
is the police department going to come in and we're going to pay them a call-in time to turn the camera off?
doesn't make any sense either.
Well, maybe they could be put on timers too, I don't know.
I do have the utilities cameras on my work phone. I can do them at any time, I can turn them off at any time. I don't see a problem with rec directors
I
having
agree.
that
Yeah,
access, especially if he's the one that's setting up the events, knowing that the right people are supposed to be there, or
But that also goes against what our tenant that pays rent,
yeah, but then.
What he
during
requested-
those times though, that he would just turn it off.
he didn't want cameras in the gym.
but there's
So,
nothing in the lease. I will say, I've
But that's
reviewed the
something
lease.
that
The
we
lease
may
is
have missed
silent.
then.
The lease is silent on the.
It was
cameras.
verbally discussed with him and agreed upon. that he
And
would-
here at finance originally.
But he signed the lease. If it was really important, I would think he would have made sure that that was in there.
You know how he reads the lease.
I think at the end of the day, he's a tenant, but it's still a public building. If something happens, the city's liable for if an unauthorized adult is in the gym with children and something happens and we weren't able to cover our liability, that here are the cameras, here are the people, here's what we're doing about it, then really whoever the tenant is doesn't matter because the city's
Right.
liable.
Your liability is minimized by having the cameras on during rec events.
Yeah, that's why I want to make sure
Right.
it's noted, because if it doesn't go through and something happens and the city is sued, I want to make it very clear that the rec department believed firmly that this should happen.
And I want to make it clear, legal counsel also thinks that's appropriate. And protect better, because it better protects the city. During rec events.
Yeah, yeah.
And logistically, it sure seems a lot easier to have it on a phone. I don't know why you pay overtime.
Well, I would take
So-
overtime to
somebody
get an
to go
officer
in.
to come in and turn something on
Right.
and off. Rec events are, you know, throughout the,
I also think we should trust the director of a department to direct the department. And I think some of that is monitoring the coming and goings of the programming, which would be easier on their phone.
Well, if this is something that is passed, then I would like someone else to communicate this with Chance. And then you guys can have another discussion about that. Because, you know, he might pull, so.
To prevent upsetting Chance, could you give him the opportunity to turn it off during his events?
it's a city, this is a public building supported by our taxpayers, and he is a tenant it is going to be our system. It is our department head. He is a tenant running a business out of a public building. I am not sure any expectation of privacy when you're running a business out of a publicly funded, owned, and operated building. So, no, I would not support him having control over the city's cameras.
Okay, and I was just trying to
I
find
know.
a middle ground, and, you know, as a person, and this might not be popular, but as a person who has had parties with Chance before, you know, when I'm having my private family party and we're having dinner and maybe some music or whatever, and trust me, we're not partiers, but I guess it would make me nervous thinking that somebody's out there watching my party that
But we're turning it off. During his events, we're turning it off. And we're going to communicate that with him. The date and the time that we're turning it on and off.
And I understand that, but even just the fact that they're up there might make people that are having parties nervous.
I have to fully agree with what Pamela is saying. If I'm gonna rent that hall, I don't want my event, any chance of it.
I don't know any venue that doesn't have cameras in
Cameras.
it, especially
Right.
one that sells alcohol.
Yeah.
I think that it's a public building. I wouldn't, as someone, I mean, you rent it, yeah, you don't want to be recorded, but I don't think anyone going into a restaurant that they've rented out a hall in assumes, one, that someone's watching the cameras at the moment in real time, because no one has time to do that.
That's what I feel will be happening though. I guess that's my problem.
Who would care what's going on in a private party? I have faith in our rec director that he is not going to entertain himself on the weekend watching private parties. That's not his, he doesn't care. I think it's insulting to our department head. And I think our legal counsel is saying, we as a council have greater liability if we don't do the minimum. We are going to, you know, you have to be willing, and I'm not willing, because I want to be on the record that I am not willing to take that liability.
Where do we stand as far as the verbal agreement that we had with our tenant? We told him, he adamantly was against these, and when we finally settled on an agreed contract, he was told there would be cameras in the gym. I think he was agreeable to the outside entrance, and I would support fully, like Kay said, with kids in and out of the bathrooms and a coat room there and whatever. I don't think he should be opposed to having it in the lobby. But where do we stand as far as, we did have a verbal agreement with him that there wouldn't be any in the gym or the bar room, what have you, so.
Ultimately, as to any agreement as to real estate, there's a doctrine in the law called the statute of frauds. What the statute of frauds says is that in order to be binding, anything as to real estate, it has to be in writing. So technically what binds you is what's in your written agreement. Now, you did have oral discussions and he has privacy concerns.
Yep.
And it's nice to do what you can to try and assuage those concerns, but ultimately as to real estate it comes down to what's in writing. My personal opinion is that the city's liability is minimized to the greatest extent possible by having security cameras when there's kids' events. And he does rent a public building, and so I think he loses that expectation of privacy when there's a city event, a children's event in his gymnasium, and I think the city's better protected by having security cameras in that situation. I understand people have all kinds of privacy concerns, and I get that, and I certainly 100% agree that the concern regarding elections, that you have to cover that up during an election. Absolutely, I think that is the case.
Well, I even confronted him and I says, I would think you'd be in support of it, especially if there was a lawsuit that came about and then you had evidence to protect yourself during a private party. But he was adamant against it, and I do remember we did close the discussion and agreed with him that there wouldn't be any in the gym, but I think he would still balk if we, I don't know if that, he's got a 2-year contract right now. If we proceed with having him on the outside of the building, viewing the entrances and putting one in the lobby, and we could negotiate that at the next contract with him or whatever. We cannot support that building on our own, not without raising city taxes.
Right, you absolutely, the
We
tenant's
need,
critical.
we need the rent money. He pays a good rent. And like I said, I see both sides. I support the fact, and Kay brought up the fact in the lobby with the coat room and whatever, and little kids running around. I agree with that totally, but I do respect his wishes as well. And I think we did enter into a contract with him, at least for this term, that there wouldn't be any in the gym.
I don't think he wants one in the lobby either.
Maybe not, but I'd cut the baby in half on that in support of this, to get it moving forward at least, and then discuss it with him at the next bout. But you can look at both sides of it, whichever side of the fence you're on, you can look at it. But I do agree that, especially that lobby, that could be an area where we could have real issues. And I don't know why he would be opposed to the lobby. I somewhat understand in the gym for private parties and what have you.
Well, and the lobby, I'd argue, would be better protects him as well, really.
But Richard, we got down to brass tacks. That was one of the things he held the line on and whatever, and I guess we agreed to it as a finance committee. Whether we should have put it in black and white, probably would have been.
It's not in the contract.
It's not.
It's not in the, it's not in the contract.
It was missed.
But it was
Discussed,
Yeah.
yeah, at length. Any other discussion? Or I guess there's a motion on the floor. Roll call vote, please.
Burrows,
Aye.
Muchka. Aye. Evans.
No, not at this time.
Foodie,
No.
Groton.
If it was only cameras in the lobby, I'd go for that. So no.
Well, this is basically just a resolution covering cameras. It's not talking about buying them or replacing them at this time.
No, it just says in there though.
I'm just
Jen.
approving this policy.
Right. You could amend that, or,
I,
but if you're against it, yeah, then that's.
I think he's as opposed to the lobby as he is the gym, so I'm not sure that
Maybe you read them better than I did.
I wasn't there, but
Yeah, he seemed pretty adamant that none inside at all.
Right. David, we're waiting on your vote.
He said no.
I said,
Oh,
no,
okay.
I agree with a legal side. I look, and it's like you say, go halfway, and there it is.
So it was,
is there some type of way that you can do something during the elections of private parties to come up with in your policy to,
but we have a tenant. All right, what I'm hearing is that the tenant's contract is paramount here.
no, you're not hearing that at all from me. I'm saying the election is paramount. I'm respecting the privacy of a private party.
So
But
if
I'm
we took,
saying the election is paramount. That's my issue.
so if the cameras could be removed during the election, that would be,
They're out of sight.
if they're out of sight.
Anyway.
Okay.
Resolution 53, 2023 fails by a vote of 3-2. Anything else from Rec K?
No, I think that was enough.
Utility Commission, Richard.
All right. Our utility meeting last Monday, Nick was welcomed back by the commission on Monday. He reported that new services were installed at the newly constructed homes by the Wild Goose Park. He visited with the folks at the construction site on Western Avenue for the new housing development, and they agreed that the electrical work on that project won't happen until spring, so that they don't have to battle with ground frost. And he's starting to plan for the East Oak Street project, the next 2 blocks that we'll be doing next year. Alex reported that there's been complaints about chlorine odor in the city water, and he's working with MSA to find solutions. One possible solution is to check the media in the iron filters at the wells. This media hasn't been changed for
20 plus.
20 plus years, so it's probably due, and that might be one solution. He also wanted the commission to consider eliminating the addition of fluoride in the water, and right now this is a requirement by city ordinance, and we'll discuss this further at the next meeting. The wastewater project continues. The natural gas line has been extended to the wastewater treatment plant. They extended it from the edge of town out to the wastewater treatment plant. 3 residents along the way have opted to connect to the gas line. So that means that the gas company will pay us money because they connected. I don't know how much.
Small portion.
Small portion. But we get something. Also, Alex met with MSA about the Oak Street project, and he anticipates that the lead pipes in the city should be eliminated by the DNR deadline, which I think is the end of next year. That's
October 24.
October 2024. That's all I have for utility.
Any questions for Richard or Dave? Dave, anything you wanted to add?
No, I can't think of anything. Richard covered it very well.
Okay, any old business tonight? Any new business?
It's just down to the waste and leaf site this weekend, and I want to say it was perfect. It was all cleaned up and in great shape this time of year when everybody's getting rid of everything, so it was good to see.
Any other new business? Provincial licenses, bartender licenses for 45 days, there are none. Approved regular bartender's license for 2023 expires June 30th, 2024. Jason Horner and Richard Nails. Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion to approve those 2 licenses.
Second.
Motion by Foodie, second by Grattan. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Foodie,
Second.
second by Morose. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.